The lower districts of Colony Epsilon 7 reeked of ozone and recycled air, a far cry from the gleaming towers above where the wealthy made their homes among the stars. Engineer Kai Thompson pulled his jacket tighter against the perpetual chill as he made his way through the maze of service corridors, his toolkit clanking softly with each step. He'd been called to repair a malfunctioning waste processor, unglamorous work that kept the colony running while others slept in comfort. The flickering overhead lights cast dancing shadows between the massive storage containers and disposal units that lined the narrow alleyway. That's when he saw her. Curled behind a trash unit like a discarded doll, a figure in torn, once elegant robes lay motionless. Kai's breath caught as he approached, recognizing the distinctive pale blue skin and the cascade of red curls that marked her as Ethrani, one of the alien species that had once held diplomatic prominence before their homeworld's political collapse. She was barely breathing, her slender frame racked with shivers. Dark bruises marred her arms where the fabric had torn away, and her lips held a faint blue tinge that spoke of hypothermia. But it was her eyes that stopped him cold when they fluttered open, large, luminous amber orbs that held depths of pain and resignation. "Please," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the hum of machinery. "I won't. I'll move along." Kai knelt beside her, noting how she instinctively flinched from his approach. "You're hurt," he said simply, his voice gentle. "When did you last eat?" She stared at him with obvious confusion, as if kindness was a foreign concept. 3 days, perhaps 4. Without hesitation, Kai shed his jacket and wrapped it around her trembling shoulders. "Can you walk?" "I think so." He helped her to her feet, noting how she wavered but tried to maintain dignity even in her weakened state. "My quarters aren't far. There's food, warmth, and a place to rest." "Why?" she asked, amber eyes searching his face for deception. "Because you need help," Kai replied, supporting her weight as they began walking. "That's reason enough." 3 weeks had passed since Kai brought Vera to his small quarters in the mid-level residential sector. What began as a simple act of compassion had evolved into something neither had expected: companionship. Vera moved carefully around the compact space, her pale blue skin now carrying a healthier glow. The hollow cheeks had filled out, and her red curls, once matted and dull, now caught the artificial light with vibrant life. She'd insisted on helping with daily tasks despite Kai's protests, finding purpose in small acts of service. "You don't have to do this," Kai said one evening, watching her prepare their simple meal with practiced efficiency. Her species' natural grace made even mundane tasks appear elegant. "I want to," Vera replied, her accent lending musical quality to the common tongue. "On my world, we believe kindness creates debt that can only be repaid through kindness." Kai set down his data pad, studying her profile as she worked. "You don't owe me anything, Vera." She paused, her amber eyes meeting his. "Perhaps not debt then. But gratitude finds ways to express itself." Their conversations had grown deeper over the weeks. Vera spoke of her homeworld's crystal cities and the diplomatic corps she'd once served. Kai shared stories of his engineering work and the colony's early days. Neither dwelt on the politics that had made her people outcasts, preferring to focus on small, human moments. "Tell me about your family," Vera asked one night as they sat together on his narrow couch, sharing a warm drink. Kai's expression darkened slightly. "Not much to tell. My parents died in a transport accident when I was young. Been on my own since." Vera's slender fingers found his hand, her touch gentle but sure. "We are both alone then, in our ways." "We're alone," Kai corrected softly, his thumb tracing over her knuckles. Her skin was softer than he'd expected, warm despite its unusual hue. That night, as Vera prepared her makeshift bed on the floor, Kai found himself watching her ritual. She'd fold the blankets with precise care, arranging them near his bed but maintaining respectful distance. "Vera," he said quietly. "You know you could take the bed. I can sleep on the couch." She shook her head, settling into her spot with familiar grace. "This is perfect. I I sleep better knowing you're near. Her admission hung in the air between them, heavy with unspoken meaning. Kai felt something shift in his chest, a warmth that had nothing to do with the room's temperature. 2 months had transformed Kai's solitary existence into something he'd never imagined possible. Vera had become not just his housemate, but his partner in the quiet rhythms of daily life. She'd learned to operate his engineering equipment, often assisting with repairs while he worked on the colony's systems. "Hand me the plasma torch," Kai said, wedged beneath a malfunctioning atmospheric processor. Vera's slender fingers placed the tool precisely in his palm, anticipating his needs with intuitive understanding. "The coupling is corroded," she observed, her amber eyes studying the mechanical innards. "If you bypass the secondary relay." "Exactly what I was thinking," Kai grinned, emerging from beneath the machine. Their eyes met and held, the moment stretching between them charged with unspoken tension. These moments had become more frequent, lingering touches when passing tools, conversations that continued long into the night, and the way Vera's gaze would follow him around their shared space with growing warmth. One evening, as autumn rains drummed against the windows, Vera sat curled beside him on the couch, her head resting against his shoulder while he read technical manuals. The casual intimacy felt natural, as if they'd been doing this for years rather than weeks. "Kai," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the rain. "May I ask you something?" "Of course." "Do you ever feel lonely? Even when I'm here?" He set down his reader, turning to face her fully. "No. Not since you arrived." "Why?" Her cheeks deepened to a darker blue, what he'd learned was her species' equivalent of blushing. "I've been thinking about us. About what this is becoming." Kai's heart accelerated. "What do you think it's becoming?" Instead of answering with words, Vera leaned closer, her hand coming to rest on his chest. "May I?" He nodded, and she pressed her lips to his, soft, tentative, and filled with months of growing affection. The kiss deepened naturally, her arms winding around his neck as he pulled her closer. When they finally parted, both were breathing heavily. "I've wanted to do that for weeks," Kai admitted. "Only weeks?" Vera smiled, her fingers tracing the line of his jaw. "I've wanted it since the night you first showed me kindness." That night, when bedtime came, Vera didn't move to her usual spot on the floor. Instead, she stood uncertainly at the edge of his bed. "I sleep better when I can hear your heartbeat," she said softly. Could I sleep beside you?" Kai pulled back the covers in invitation, and Vera slipped in beside him, her body warm against his. She curled against his chest, her ear pressed over his heart, and for the first time in months, both slept deeply and peacefully. Part 4, Love and Commitment. The colony's administrator, Director Hayes, sat across from Kai in the sterile government office, his expression stern and unyielding. "Mr. Thompson, we need to discuss your living situation." Kai kept his voice steady. "What about it?" "Harbor protocols require registration of all alien residents. Your Ethrani companion has been living undocumented for nearly a year." Hayes leaned forward. "There are proper channels for displaced aliens. Relocation centers designed for their specific needs." "Vera isn't displaced," Kai replied firmly. "She's my partner." Hayes's eyebrows rose. "Mr. Thompson, I understand you may have developed feelings. But these arrangements rarely work out. Different species, different needs. We have facilities better equipped." "No." Kai's voice carried final authority. "Vera stays with me. I'll pay whatever fees are required, fill out whatever forms you need." That evening, Kai returned home to find Vera waiting anxiously, her amber eyes searching his face. "What did they say?" "They wanted to relocate you to a center," Kai said, taking her hands in his. "I told them no." Vera's grip tightened. "Kai, if it would be easier for you." "Don't." He cupped her face gently. "Don't ever suggest leaving me. You're not a burden or a problem to be solved. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. Tears gathered in her eyes. I love you, she whispered. I love you too, he replied, kissing her deeply. Their relationship had evolved beyond mere companionship over the past months. Intimate moments had become natural expressions of their deepening bond, gentle caresses while working together, passionate kisses that left them both breathless, and nights spent exploring each other's bodies with tender reverence. The night after the meeting with Hayes, Kai presented Vera with a ring he'd crafted from a piece of rare metal salvaged from a decommissioned ship. The band was simple but elegant, engraved with both human and Ethrani symbols of unity. I can't offer you a legal ceremony, he said, kneeling before her. But I can promise you my heart, my home, and my protection for as long as you'll have me. Vera's hands trembled as she accepted the ring. In my culture, we believe souls choose their mates across lifetimes. I believe mine chose yours long before we met. They made love that night with profound tenderness, their bodies moving together in perfect synchronization. Vera's soft gasps and whispered endearments in her native tongue filled the darkness, while Kai worshipped every inch of her blue skin with reverent touches. Afterward, as they lay entwined, Vera traced patterns on his chest. Whatever comes, we face it together. Together, Kai agreed, his arms tightening around her. Always. 5 years had passed since that cold night when Kai found Vera behind the waste containers. The modest quarters had been replaced by a larger residential unit in the colony's desirable sector, earned through their combined efforts and growing reputation as the colony's most skilled engineering team. Vera stood before the mirror in their bedroom, adjusting the formal jacket she wore for their latest client meeting. The scrap metal ring on her finger caught the light, now accompanied by a matching band on Kai's hand. Their unofficial union had become the colony's most enduring love story. Ready for the Nexus Corporation presentation? Kai asked, wrapping his arms around her from behind. In the mirror, they looked like they belonged together, her pale blue skin and red curls contrasting beautifully with his darker complexion. With you? Always, Vera smiled, leaning back against his chest. Remember when you used to do all the talking because I was too nervous? Now you're the one they request by name, Kai chuckled, pressing a kiss to her neck. The brilliant alien engineer who revolutionized atmospheric processing. The brilliant alien engineer who learned everything from her brilliant human partner, Vera corrected, turning in his arms. Their success had brought unexpected benefits. The colony administration that once viewed Vera as a problem now celebrated her as a valued citizen. Other mixed-species couples had followed their example, creating a more inclusive community. But it wasn't the professional achievements that mattered most to either of them. Every night, they still slept curled together, Vera's ear pressed to Kai's chest, listening to the heartbeat that had become her lullaby. Their physical relationship had only deepened with time, passionate encounters that left them both breathless, followed by tender moments of connection that transcended the physical. Do you ever miss it? Vera asked one evening as they worked together on a complex repair. The solitude? The simple life you had before? Kai paused, considering. I thought I was living before you came. Turns out I was just existing. Even when I leave tools in the wrong places and sing off-key in the shower. Especially then, he grinned, pulling her close for a kiss that tasted of contentment and forever. That night, as they prepared for bed, Vera caught sight of herself in the mirror again. The frightened, broken woman who'd once hidden behind trash containers was gone. In her place stood someone confident, loved, and truly home. Kai, she said softly as they settled into bed. Thank you. For what? For seeing me when I was invisible. For loving me when I was unlovable. For giving me a reason to never be alone again. Kai held her close, breathing in the familiar scent of her hair. You saved me too, you know. You gave me a heart I didn't know I had. As sleep claimed them, Vera's hand found its way to Kai's chest, her fingers splayed over his heart. Some rescues, she reflected drowsily, saved 2 people at once. Outside their window, the colony hummed with life, but inside their sanctuary, two souls who had found each other across the vastness of space slept peacefully, complete in their love.